Hi everyone, I am here with a technique video for lunges, which is potentially the thing which makes me most cross. Lunge technique is really quite tricky, and getting it right so that you're working the right muscles and you're not damaging things, and getting your setup right is really important. If you don't, you then tend to move forwards with it, which puts pressure through your knee joints and doesn't work in the way that it's supposed to. So I'm going to go through a quick video on best technique for a good static lunge, and then I'll show you how that translates into reverse lunges or walking lunges, although I'm a bit limited with space, so the walking lunge bit won't be very long, if you see what I mean. I'm just going to walk towards the camera and show you how it will work. And then I'm also going to give you an exercise for you if you struggle with your knees dipping in when you're either doing squats or lunges, or in fact any other exercise or activity, which will just stretch the strand of the quadriceps muscle which pulls the knees out, and hopefully will adjust that and make it easier for you to keep everything in alignment. So let's have a look at lunges first. So the important thing with a lunge, well, there are loads of important things. The first thing to think about is to make sure that when you step back into your lunge or forward into your lunge, you're keeping your feet hip width apart. The minute you come too far in, your balance is going to go, and then of course everything is out of alignment already. So by keeping your feet hip width as you step into your lunge, your hips and knees and ankles should then be able to stay in a nice straight line. And the idea with a lunge is that your toe, your heel, your knee and your hip for each leg produces a straight line in this direction. Obviously you've got bends in it through that plane, but in this plane there is a straight line, toe, heel, knee, hip on both legs. The other thing that is important is to maintain hips parallel to the floor and parallel to the front. So straight in this plane and straight in this plane as you dip down. You want to make sure that you've taken a long enough step so that when you perform your lunge, just let me shift you forward a little bit here, when you perform your lunge, you are going to go down to the point where you've got about 90 degrees at each knee joint. So you can actually set your distance up by going into that position first. Drop your back knee onto the ground, find 90 degrees with the front, 90 degrees with the back, and then stand up. That's quite a big stance there. If you come too narrow, then as you sink down, this knee is going to shoot off over your front toe, and you're not getting the best work, and you're also putting a lot of pressure through that knee joint because all the force is going out through the front of that knee. So we are in this nice long step with our feet on train tracks, toe, heel, knee, hip in straight line. So make sure your back heel is vertically above your toe and you've not allowed it to either tilt in or out here. Face straight forwards, keep the hips parallel to the floor, and then just tuck your tailbone under. Tendency is once you've taken this big stride is to end up with an arch in the back here. Now if you've got an arch here and you've pushed that hip forward, you've extended through that front hip flexor, it's very difficult to bend that back knee, and what then happens, you can see this front knee coming forwards and my weight's going onto my toe on this front leg because I can't bend this back knee because I've extended everything through the front here. It's just impossible. So by tucking the tailbone under, I can then bend that back knee down towards the ground, and if you can see, the movement is pretty much vertical and this knee isn't coming too far forwards. So the weight is staying between the ball of the foot and the heel on that front foot. I've tucked the tailbone under and I'm bending the back knee to get that movement in that lunge. Hips are staying square to the ground here and square front to back. So that is your best movement for your lunge. And it's a vertical movement, not a forwards one, because we've bent that back knee, because we've tucked the tailbone under to allow it to happen. So from the front, just switch onto the other foot. I've taken it back onto train tracks. I've got my back heel vertically above my back toe. I've taken a big enough stride to allow that 90-degree angle at both knees. I've tucked the tailbone under, so I've just shortened that distance from pubic bone to sternum here, and then I bend that back knee down and look, straight line, toe, heel, knee, hip, through both legs as I lunge down here. Hips are staying square to the ground. So don't be tempted to reach by dropping that hip. Everything should stay nice and vertical. So those are your lunges. Now if you're struggling in a lunge because your knee wants to drop in here, or you struggle in a squat because your knees want to do this and you're sinking in on your feet, or when you run you pronate, then there is an exercise to do to strengthen the vastus medialis strand of your quadriceps, which comes up and across the thigh here. So I've just got a rolled up yoga mat. You can use a rolled up bit of towel or a block or a roller. And you're going to sit with the leg, particularly the leg that is causing the problem, but if it's both legs, then both, with the knee over the top of the roller or rolled up towel. Just turn your toe out to about 3 or 4, maybe 5 minutes past the hour. So you're just rotating the toe out slightly. And then you're going to hyperextend the leg by clenching this thigh to lift the heel off the ground. By rotating that toe out slightly, we focus more on this strand of muscle that links into the inside of the knee joint here. And that's the one that's going to pull the knee out and hold it out so that it stabilizes it and it doesn't want to rock in when you're doing these activities. So toe rocked out slightly, and then extend by pushing the back of the knee into the roller or the rolled up towel, lifting the heel, and then holding it for several seconds, and then release. Now you can do this sitting on the front of a hard chair, so you'd have your foot dangling down off the edge of the chair, knee right up against the edge of the chair, and you can extend fully up to horizontal and do that same hyperextension out at this angle. But of course, when you release it, your foot will fold down all the way towards the floor because you're sitting on a chair. But this is a really easy way to do it. You can do it in the gym, you can do it at home, in the bathroom, roll your towel up after you've had your shower. So you're just going to squeeze, hold it for 3 or 4 seconds, and release. You can add weight to this by putting an ankle weight on to work this. It's a really good way of working quads to protect your knees without doing leg extension and leg curl, because we're only doing that last little bit of the movement. And the other way you can do it without the roller is just a straight leg lift with the toe turned slightly out, lifting here, holding and release. So lifting, hold and release, and it really works on that strand of muscle there. So those are a couple of things, a couple of pointers that might help you with your lunges. Comments in the section below if you're watching this on YouTube, and I hope it helps you improve your lunge technique, gain better strength and toning in the muscles that we're aiming for, but also protect your knees while you're doing them. Okay, enjoy guys.